All right, peace, 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 beautiful soul. I hope that you are doing wonderful. Yeah, and so I'm just getting off of work. I'm waiting for my ride. They're gonna take about 45 minutes to an hour to get here. So I decided, the most logical, productive thing to do is get your reading done. Um, okay, so first and foremost, we're gonna be talking about your sun, moon, and ascendant. These are like the essentials, and they're like the fun. They're like the foundation. You know what I'm saying? They deal with your character, your avatar, like your personality, like who you are as an individual. And then the other planetary planets, like the inside planets, like Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Mars, Saturn. Those planets, they more deal with energies that you have access to utilize, to advance your character, but also to fulfill your journey. You know what I'm saying? And then the outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. These are like outer, higher forces that are influencing your journey. You know what I'm saying? Like the outer planets, they deal with like the spiritual plane. You know what I'm saying? Their influences are also primarily long term and highly transformative. You know what I'm saying? Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Yeah. But so yeah, that's why we're gonna talk about your ascendant, your sun, and your moon first. Because those are energies that are close to your being, you know what I'm saying, to you. Okay, so let's begin by talking about your sun. So your sun is in Gemini in the 12th house. That's awesome. I didn't know you were a Gemini like me. And then your ascendant is in Sagittarius in the 6th house, you know what I'm saying? So there's somewhat of an opposition going on here. We'll get more into that later, if that's even a thing, you know what I'm saying? Because it depends on the degree, but from what I've seen, I think they are at a close orb to each other, to oppose each other. So we'll get into that in later sessions. I'll explain to you what that all means. And then your ascendant is also in Gemini, so this means that your chart ruler is Mercury. You know what I'm saying? We'll talk about Mercury in another session. You know what I'm saying? We'll kind of dive into it. But first and foremost, let's talk about your sun in Gemini in the 12th house. So with your sun being in Gemini, you know what I'm saying? This just indicates that you are a person who is like water. You know what I'm saying? Because Gemini is an air sign, but Gemini is mutable air, you know what I'm saying? Being mutable air, Gemini is all about going with the flow, you know what I'm saying? Like, how when Bruce Lee was saying be like water, and he was explaining that water crashes when it needs to, and it does this when it needs to, blah, blah, blah. When it comes to Geminis, our greatest strength, the place where we shine the most, is in our adaptability. We are very adaptable and very flexible, yet our downfall is our changeability. You know what I'm saying? That concept, curiosity killed the cat, is very, very true. In the sense that when it comes to us Geminis, we at times can find ourselves being drawn and attracted to shiny things, you know what I'm saying? To shiny things. And being close to being in the first emanation, you know what I'm saying? And being close to Aries, we can also play out that impulsive energy, you know what I'm saying, where we just might find, and this kind of correlates and connects with our desire, curiosity, but also our desire to be stimulated, you know what I'm saying? So as a Gemini, our tendency of getting bored can be very likely, because we need a continual stream of stimulation, and it's important that you source this need, you know what I'm saying? It really is a need, because it's like, as Geminis, if you're not productive, if you're not doing something, if you're not giving your mental energies, mental currents channel to flow into, then it'll start to kind of play out destructively in a worrisome, overthinking type of energy. You know what I'm saying? But I want to go back to what I was speaking upon in regards to the weakness and the strength, you know what I'm saying? So I did say that our strength is in our flexibility, but our weakness is in our changeability. One thing that can happen for us Geminis, that we can see this, is in the change of, let's say, careers, or let me not even go as deep as career, but let's say activity. You know what I'm saying? We might find ourselves picking up something and then a minute later getting bored with this, so putting it down. And this is why Geminis are considered the master of all the jacks of all trades, but the masters of none. It's important that you learn to find a couple things that you are passionate in, you know what I'm saying, and you hone and focus your energy on that. Now, with your sun being in the 12th house, we'll get back into Gemini energy a little bit later, but with your sun being in the 12th house, this is a house that deals with spirituality. It deals with creativity. It deals with the creative arts, you know what I'm saying, of all kinds, you know what I'm saying. Anything that incorporates creativity, anything that incorporates the imagination, you know what I'm saying. These are all things correlated with the 12th house. So with you having your sun in the 12th house, it most definitely is important that you have channels of creativity that you can allow your imagination to fulfill itself, you know what I'm saying. So find the ways in which you are creative, you know what I'm saying. And it's interesting because the idea that, they say a lot of the times artists are depressed, or they've gone through something traumatic, or they just have a sad storyline that brought them, they're bringing color to a world full of gray, you know what I'm saying. And that very much synchronizes with the 12th house energy, because this is simultaneously yes, the house of creativity, but also the house that deals with sorrow, trauma, bondage, having gone through things, having a past, you know what I'm saying, that kind of haunts you, that you may carry with you till this day. And this is beyond just your trauma and your karma, you know what I'm saying, because the 12th house is a house of collective energies, you know what I'm saying. It deals with the collective unconscious, but on top of that, the 12th house also deals with okay, so I said unconscious and I said the collective. Yeah, so that what I was just about to share kind of escaped my memory, so I guess it's not as relevant. But yeah, pretty much, you know what I'm saying, the 12th house. So dealing with all of these things, you know what I'm saying. Oh yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. It's not just your karma, but it's 12th house individuals have this tendency of carrying on karma, you know what I'm saying. They'll take someone else's karma, other people's karma, and they'll kind of play it out, you know what I'm saying. And this is, when I say karma, kind of think of it like this, these are the empaths, you know what I'm saying, and they have an ability to feel other people's emotions to a level that may be unconstructive to the individual, you know what I'm saying, in the sense that you're if someone is going through pain, you may be able to heal them through self-sacrificing your own well-being and taking their pain. And this can be a spiritual, energetic exchange, you know what I'm saying. It's not really physical or conscious, but it's through allowing them to vent to you, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. And this and the third, you know what I'm saying, they start to feel better. And it can even play out to an extreme where it may be you may find yourself in scenarios of bondage. The 12th house is associated with Venus, because Pisces is naturally belonging in the 12th house, and Pisces is exalted. Well, Venus is exalted in Pisces, so there's this association with relationships, you know what I'm saying, with the 12th house. This is kind of seen in all of the water houses, or the psychic houses as they're known, the 12th, the 4th, and the 8th house. We'll talk more about that later in later sessions when I dive into the houses and I explain to you what the houses are all about. But right now, all you need to know is that the 12th house is a house of selflessness. It's self-sacrifice, and it's self-transcendence, you know what I'm saying. And then this is the sun. The sun is in the 12th house, you know what I'm saying. So the highest exaltation, before I talk about the highest exaltation for this placement, let me talk a little bit about its correlation in relationships, you know what I'm saying, where it can play out either through the rose coloredness energies of Neptune or Pisces is also synchronized in the 12th house energies. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like these individuals will find themselves putting themselves in bondage or cheating themselves. It kind of plays out two ways. You know what I'm saying? It can either be like seeing things that aren't there, and as a result being self-destructive and self-sabotaging, or seeing things that aren't there and thus, well, it's both. Okay, what I mean by this is it's like 12th housers can either have gone through so much like trauma and stuff in their life that they kind of build a wall around their heart, you know what I'm saying? And this wall, sure, it keeps like the evil out and the people that have intentions to hurt them out, but simultaneously this wall also prevents, you know what I'm saying, people with good intentions and people that have like, you know, a heart full of gold to come in. So it's like this dualistic energy, you know what I'm saying, that one needs to learn to work out through learning to connect with one's highest truth. Like the 12th house is the house of illusion, but being the house of transcendence and being the house where like like the death of the ego, or the alter ego, rather, I should say, because you know the ego is not completely a bad thing. Like the ego is the reason why I am an astrologer, you know what I'm saying? I differentiated myself from other people and I can speak about certain things that can help you, you know what I'm saying? So the ego is not completely bad, but there's the alter ego, which is who and what we think we are, you know what I'm saying? I recently had a shattering of my ego, you know what I'm saying, who I thought I was, and who I thought I was, etc. And this death was inspired by another spiritualist, you know, of mine. Like I also get spirit, like, you know, readings, and I get advice from other, you know what I'm saying, like it's like no matter how elevated you get, like you should always reach out, like, and you know, like to not do so is to be arrogant, you know what I'm saying, and like low-key a little bit ignorant, because there's certain things that we are blind to that others can see, you know. And this is very true with the 12th house 12th house sun, because when the sun goes into the 12th house, it's shining light into, or it's energies that it is expressing or unconscious or unknown. So it's expressing a lot of things that deal with like spirit and that deal with spirituality in general, you know what I'm saying? When I say spirit, some of the most loving people that I've met were Pisces, most self-sacrificing, you know what I'm saying, and willing to give from like the depths of their hearts were Pisces / 12th housers, you know what I'm saying? And like the highest exaltation in this world, I believe, is selfless action, you know what I'm saying? Because to act selflessly is to realize that you aren't separate from that person, you know what I'm saying? And you guys are but cut from the same cloth, you know what I'm saying? That is a very high expression. That 12th house energy can truly play out. Now, the problem here with the 12th house energy is to ensure that you're not taking on more than you can chew, to learn to understand your limitations, and to start to create realistic boundaries, you know what I'm saying? And this can even be like for your dreams and your hopes and your aspirations. It's kind of like this: we need the 12th house, right, which is the house of imagination, spirituality, all that good stuff. But simultaneously, we need the 6th house, or the Virgo energy. It's like the saying from, you know, the Bible that goes, faith is worthless without works. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should have faith 100%, but you should also apply and put work behind that faith. And that's where like the polar house of the 12th house can reveal to you. And this is the 6th house, you know what I'm saying, which you have your moon in, so you're well balanced, you know what I'm saying? That's the cool thing about having an opposition versus a square. A square is just like, yep, you got lessons on lessons on lessons that you need to learn. But then an opposition, it's kind of like, these are the two energies you need to balance. And it's like here it's not so, there's not so much friction, because what happens here, it's like a yo-yo game, or like a yo-yo game, or like a tug of war, you know what I'm saying, where it's like you're either pulling towards the sixth house, which meaning you're either holistically concerned about your work and your health and your physical manifestation and things like that, or you're wholly ungrounded from the physical world and you're wholly focused on, spiritual things, and like going delulu, you know what I'm saying, delusional type energy. So the cool thing about this, though, with you having your moon in the sixth house and your sun in the 12th house, there's a balance here. Now let me explain a little bit before I go deeper into the sun in the 12th house Gemini energy. The moon is like your core essence. It's who you truly are. It's like a manifestation of the soul, you know what I'm saying, which is the soul driver, the one that is aspiring towards its purpose, you know what I'm saying, because we're all here to actualize our soul's purpose, you know what I'm saying, and your moon really helps you reveal what that is. Now, your moon is in the sixth house and your moon is in Sagittarius. With your moon being in Sagittarius, this is an indication that naturally you are a philosophical person, because growing up, I'm pretty sure, I think you shared this with me, you grew up in a religious family, you know what I'm saying, so boom, you were exposed to religion at a young age, you know what I'm saying. But the moon is a feminine planet, you know what I'm saying. In astrology we consider it a planet, even though it's not a planet. It's a feminine celestial orb or celestial body. So with the moon being feminine, it's attractive and it's passive and it submits, you know what I'm saying. And so with this, and this is just an indication that a lot of the things that you've had to submit to and you've because you attracted to yourself are Sagittarian things. Now Sagittarius is the sign of the higher mind, you know what I'm saying. And it's interesting because Gemini is the sign of the lower mind, meanwhile Sagittarius is the sign of the higher mind. And so you have access to both the higher and the lower minds. And so don't completely think of it as a bad thing, but more so think of it like this. So Gemini is like K through 12, you know what I'm saying? Or Gemini deals with the physical environment, right? So peep game, because you're a Gemini, about the things I'm saying about Gemini. So that Gemini rules the lower mind, but in the sense that it deals with your physical environment, your immediate environment, that is, and your interaction with it, and the skills you develop through through interacting with, because it's like the first house and the 10th house, you know what I'm saying. The first house is the house of the personal life, you know what I'm saying. These are how you spend your personal, like how you spend your time personally, like your interests, who you are as a person, you know what I'm saying, how you play, how you portray yourself to be, the energies that I wouldn't say you're most comfortable in, but these are just energies in general that are automatic, you know what I'm saying. Like you don't completely have to force it, because your sun is like your actions, you know what I'm saying, the things that you are acting upon. Meanwhile your moon is your reaction, so the things that you are reacting upon. And when you're not acting on something, you know what I'm saying, like when you don't have a vision in mind, or a motive, vision, interest, will, right? When you're not trying to will something into existence, then you're not in your sun. And when things aren't coming to you to react to, like when you're not in your emotions, then you're not in your moon. And when you're just being, then you're in your ascendant, which is that Gemini energy, you know what I'm saying, that Gemini energy. Oh, right, that Gemini energy, you know what I'm saying. So this is just you in your element, you know what I'm saying. So you have your ascendant in Gemini. So this just kind of reinforces that sun energy. Yet the only thing here is that you have your sun at 20, like I think it's 23. It's later degrees Gemini, you know what I'm saying? For sure. So yeah, okay. I'll also say this in reference to the deacons. I'll talk about the deacons later, because I'll kind of need to refresh my mind by looking at my notes, you know what I'm saying, that I took about the deacons. But, you know, being a Gemini myself, I'm aware of the deacons of Gemini, of course. Not only that, I'm not really sure of your chart, and I'm recording on my phone, you know what I'm saying. so I can't really just exit out and check. But what I am aware of is your sun being in the first decan of Gemini and your ascendant being in the third decan of Gemini. So the first decan of Gemini, this is the decan of intuition, you know what I'm saying? And this is holistically the part or aspect of Gemini that is ruled by Mercury holistically. So this decan, like I said, is the decan of intuition. Now it is represented in the sky by this individual, not individual, but it's a bear, you know what I'm saying? And this bear is Ursa Minor, you know what I'm saying? Ursa Minor is Latin, I think. Yeah, Latin. Ursa Minor is Latin for the little bear. And so this little bear, it's also seen in like one of the stories about I'll send it to you because it's not coming to my mind, but in the story, you know, there's this little girl who fumbled or stumbled into hold on, give me a sec.